Please welcome Matthew.
I used to love tractors until they ruined my life. This all started when I was a young fella and I had real bad luck talking to girls. I couldn't get a girlfriend for love nor money. Maybe that's what I should have done. No, one girl, I said I'd meet her at the gym, but she didn't show up, so I guess we weren't going to work out. Another girl, she used to collect magazines as a hobby, but she had too many issues. I went on a blind date with a vegan. I'd never met her before. Yeah, that's a good one. But most of the girls I went out with reckon that they were lactose intolerant, mostly from my cheesy jokes. I thought I've got to do something about this, and so I started watching all these dating programs to try and get an idea of get a foot in the door sort of thing. But most of them are of little use to give that sort of advice. So watching Perfect Match and Married at First Sight and Blind Date and Date in the Dark and all these other ones, Dateline, Mother and Son. Sorry, what are we talking about? No, the best one gave me the best advice that I ever had, or I thought it was the best advice, and that was Farmer Wants a Wife. And the advice they gave you, if you want to get a farm girl, what have you got to do? A tractor! Well, I quite like farm girls, but I live in the city. Where am I going to get a tractor? But they seemed to know what they were talking about, so I did my research. I went to the library, I went to the tractor section, and got all the books out. I watched documentaries about tractors, all sorts of things. I even got my old maths homework out and was measuring angles with my protractor just in case. Okay, I'll plough on. Anyway, the thing is that learning all about tractors, I got really into them. Like, they were fascinating, these magnificent machines. The big wheel at the back and the small wheel at the front, and you can attach anything to them to plant seeds or pick crops and all that sort of thing. I was really getting into it. I mean, was this a stepping stone into wanting to become a farmer? I mean, I always wanted to be outstanding in my field. But let's stick to tractors for now. Now, I heard from a friend of a friend that there was going to be a big tractor and farm equipment exhibition in York. Now, I didn't know the details, so I got her number and I tracked her down. And it turned out it was going to be on that Saturday. So I thought I'll go to bed early on Friday night, get a good night's sleep. Saturday morning, a sparrow farted next to my window. I thought that's the time to get up, that's when the farmers get up. And I made my way to York. Now, it was still pretty early. The exhibition had the gates closed. But there was a bit of activity milling about at the various cafes in York, so I thought I'll grab some breakfast while I'm waiting. Pulled the car up and parked along the side there. And then I saw it. A vision in bottle green. A John Deere tractor. Oh my God, it was magnificent. It was a little bit like me, actually. It was an older model, but in pristine condition. You weren't meant to laugh at that one. And I was checking it out. It looked like a tractor and everything. It had the big wheel at the back and it had the small wheel at the front. And then I looked in the cab, and there were keys in the ignition. I thought, here's my opportunity. I'm not going to get an opportunity like this again. I checked the door. It opened. Nobody was running out from the cafe 50 metres up the road. I thought, okay, I'll give this a go. I sat in the cab. It smelled like a farmer. I think he had beans or something. And I thought, I'll try the ignition. Now, the next few moments were a bit of a blur. But the next thing I know, it must have left it in gear because it started careening forward, and I only just missed the lovely couple sitting at the cafe eating their vegetarian breakfast. It just jumped out of the way just before I knocked over the two props holding up the veranda. And a little while later, after the ambulance had left and the police had finished interviewing me, I was a little bit shaken. So I took myself up to up Avon Terrace to the Imperial pub. I resolved myself. I was no longer interested in tractors. Tractors were no longer going to be a part of my life. I was just going to forget about them and I've got to move on with my life. And I went into the pub to drown my sorrows. And I sat at the bar for about 2 or 3 hours. And after a while, I could smell smoke, like it was starting to get a bit misty in there. But it wasn't an acrid smoke, it was sweet. It was popcorn and pineapple and all these sweet raspberry cordial. It was these kids in the back corner smoking on vapes. There was about 6 of them. The room was actually filled with this vape smoke. I thought, I'm not having this. There's people in there squinting from the smoke in their eyes and coughing and blurting. So I thought, turn around, I'm not having this. I breathed out and I slowly breathed in. I breathed the smoke in until the room was absolutely clear. Not a sound could be heard in the pub. And I swallowed and I turned back to the bar to continue with my lemon, lime and bitters. And the bartender sidled up to me and said, that was amazing. How did you do that? I said, oh, I'm an ex-Tractor fan.